Welcome to Gaia's Calling, where stories ignite your spirit and the earth whispers her secrets. I'm Brad Swift, a write-on-purpose author of eco-fiction and nonfiction, inviting you to become an eco-guardian. Together, let's explore the wonders of our world and take action to protect them. Listen closely, Gaia is calling. And today's call is One Cause Part 4.2, The Tech Savior Myth. How our technology can really be a tool, but not our savior. Hi, this is Brad Swift, and let's dig in. It's comforting to think that somewhere out there, a brilliant invention is about to solve the world's biggest problems. Electric cars will halt climate change. Carbon capturing machines will erase our emissions. Geo-engineering will shield us from the sun's fury. But what if our faith in technology is itself a trap? What if the real solution isn't in a miracle gadget, but in the way we live and the systems we build? What if we realized that technology is a tool, but not our savior? In this installment of One Cause, we tackle the fourth Great Untruth, the dangerous belief that technology alone will save us. By rethinking our relationship with innovation, we can ensure that technology becomes a tool for regeneration, not an excuse for inaction. So, the Great Untruth number 4 is that technology will save us. Again, technology does offer some exciting possibilities, but at the same time it fails to address some systemic issues like waste and overconsumption. As we explore the limits of technological solutions, let's consider how deeper systemic changes, like embracing circular economies, can work alongside innovation to create a real change, maybe even a transformation. Here's the tricky part. While technology is a powerful tool, it can't replace systemic change. For example, electric vehicles reduce emissions compared to gas-powered cars, but mining for lithium, the metal used in their batteries, comes with its own environmental and social costs. Entire ecosystems are disrupted, water sources are depleted, and local communities often face harmful working conditions. It's not about rejecting technology, but using it wisely alongside deeper shifts in how we live and consume. Naomi Klein on the limits of innovation. In This Changes Everything, her book, Naomi Klein warns of the dangers of placing blind faith in technological fixes. She writes, "The free market ideology of our time, enforced by the governments and global institutions, is not compatible with the actions required to avert climate catastrophe." That's in the quote. Relying solely on market-driven innovations risks deepening inequality and environmental harmony. Klein argues that the real solutions require systemic change, not just shiny new gadgets. Kate Raworth echoes this sentiment in her book, Donut Economics, urging us to focus on regenerative systems rather than over-reliance on technological fixes. She advocates for circular economies, where materials are reused and recycled rather than just discarded. This aligns with the poignant question raised by environmental advocate Julia Butterfly Hill. Quote, "Where is a way?" When you think about it, there's really no such thing. End of quote. Hill's words remind us that our concept of disposal, whether tossing a plastic bottle or scrapping an old gadget, is an illusion. The waste doesn't vanish, it simply moves to another place, often becoming someone else's problem or harming ecosystems far removed from our daily lives. Clara Amer, in her book, What a Waste, Where Does Garbage Go?, takes this idea even further, exploring the journey of our garbage and challenging us to think critically about the systems that perpetuate waste. Amer's work highlights the importance of questioning not only where our waste goes, but how can we redesign systems to minimize waste in the first place. Imagine if every product was designed with its entire life cycle in mind, from creation to repurposing. Just like nature does. In nature, nothing is wasted. Everything becomes part of a continuous cycle. Leaves that fall to the forest floor decompose and nourish the soil, which in turn feeds new life. This circular system of renewal offers a blueprint for how humanity could reshape its relationship with resources, embracing principles that work with nature rather than against it. Expanding on nature's systems as circular models. Again, nature's circularity is not just efficient, it's regenerative. For example, forest ecosystems. Dead leaves decompose into rich humus, providing nutrients for new growth from plants. This cycle of decay and renewal ensures the forest thrives over centuries. And then there are the coral reefs. Coral polyps build structures that become home to countless species, each contributing to the ecosystem's health. Even when coral dies, it forms the foundation of new growth. And then there are rivers and streams. As water flows through landscapes, it nourishes plants, carves pathways, and eventually returns to the ocean, only to rise again as rain in an endless loop. These systems don't just sustain life, they enrich it. Imagine if our economic and industrial systems mimicked this approach, designing products that biodegrade safely, creating manufacturing processes that recycle materials endlessly, and ensuring energy use comes from renewable sources that replenish themselves. Nature shows us what's possible when we prioritize regeneration over exploitation. It's not just a dream. It's a roadmap for survival. At our Loving Homestead, which, by the way, you'll hear more about as this One Cause series continues, we've made it a priority to minimize waste and repurpose wherever possible. And yeah, it's a challenge, no question about it. But our organic waste from the kitchen is composted, to enrich our garden soil, while cardboard, it finds a second life either as fuel for our wood stove or in the recycling bin. We also recycle as much plastic, glass, and aluminum as we can. But here's the hard truth. Much of the plastic that comes into our home isn't recyclable, so it ends up being thrown, quote unquote, away. And like many others, we're not under the illusion that everything we send to the recycling center is actually reused. The reality is sobering. Our systems for managing waste often fall way short, leaving us to question how much of what we discard truly gets repurposed. This awareness pushes us to keep asking, how can we do it better? How can we align our daily practices more closely with nature's model of renewal and regeneration? Now let's look at the double-edged sword of technology. Technology can also create new problems while solving others. Well, let's consider plastics again. Once hailed as a groundbreaking innovation. Remember back the old movie, The Graduate? Plastics revolutionized industries, but now clog our oceans, poison wildlife, and even harm us. Research has found microplastics, tiny plastic particles in our water, air, and food. These particles have entered our bodies where they can cause inflammation, disrupt hormones, and potentially lead to long-term health issues. The very material that made life more convenient now poses serious risks to our health and to the environment. Even renewable energy technologies like solar panels and wind turbines comes with their own challenges. What happens to them at the end of their lifespan? Without sustainable end-of-life solutions, these innovations risk becoming tomorrow's waste, piling up in landfills, or creating new ecological problems. Take, for example, the stack of my old MacBook computers sitting in my closet in my office. I don't want to throw them away, but I haven't yet found a viable way to recycle them. They're a personal reminder of how even well-intentioned innovations can leave us grappling with waste. So, here's my promise to you, dear readers. I'm going to look into how to repurpose or recycle these, and I'll share what I learned. The promise of geoengineering illustrates the danger of over-reliance on technology. Proposals to block the sun's rays or manipulate weather patterns might seem like science fiction, but they're gaining traction as potential solutions to climate change. For instance, some experiments propose spraying aerosols into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight and cool the planet, while others suggest creating artificial clouds to slow warming. While these ideas may sound innovative, they carry immense risk. What if altering weather patterns cause droughts in some areas while flooding others? Could that be happening already? What if these solutions disrupt delicate ecosystems, creating cascading effects we can't foresee? These are not just hypothetical questions, they're real concerns that demand careful thought before we proceed. So, bring it home. What can we do? Well, think about your own habits. Are there moments when you wait for a tech solution instead of making a simple, meaningful change? Perhaps it's opting for a reusable water bottle instead of single-use plastics, or choosing to bike rather than drive short distances. What if we saw our technology not as the answer, but as part of a larger story, one where humans and nature collaborate rather than compete? The truth is, technology isn't a savior. It's a tool. And like any tool, its impact depends on how we use it. When paired with systemic change, cultural shifts, and a deep respect for the natural world, technology can be a force for good. Now, let's hear from the Eco Guardian team. Later that evening, the Eco Guardian team sat around a crackling campfire, the light dancing across their faces as they processed the day's lessons. The stars above seemed to listen as the team's conversations unfolded. Tess broke the silence. This whole idea of being separate from nature really gets to me. I mean, look at us. We're sitting here under the stars, surrounded by the trees and the night. How could anyone think we're not a part of this? And yet, everywhere you look, the roads, the cities, the forests we've destroyed, it's like we've built a world where that lie is the foundation. Zach nodded. Yeah, and more is always better isn't far behind. I've fallen for it myself, always wanting the latest gear, thinking the next big thing will make me happier. But it doesn't. It's like a hamster wheel that never stops. Maybe we don't need more. Maybe we need less, but better. Aya added softly, in the Amazon, my grandfather always told me, the river does not ask to be more than it is. It flows because that is its purpose. He believed that if we remember how to live with what we need instead of always chasing what we want, the earth would heal. Rake-it, the last living magic cat, remember? Perched nearby, swished her tail thoughtfully. And then there's the tech savior myth. So tempting, isn't it? To think that something or someone will invent a magic fix. But waiting for a miracle invention doesn't solve the problem. It's just another way of passing the buck. Real change starts with us, right here, right now. Umpa, Aya's grandfather, spoke up from the shadows where he'd been listening. The stories we tell shape the worlds we build. If we tell stories of separation, greed, and waiting for others to save us, then those are the worlds we will live in. But if we tell stories of connection, of gratitude, of stewardship, those too can become reality. It starts with the stories in our hearts. The group fell silent, the weight of their words settling over them. One by one, they began to share ideas for how they could live those new stories as eco-guardians and as humans. Their words, like the flames of the fire, reached outward, inviting us all to join them. So, what's next? So far in the One Cause series, we've elaborated on the 4 great untruths that is leading humankind to the brink of extinction. Number 1, that we are separate from nature. The false belief that humanity stands apart from and above the natural world rather than being deeply interconnected with it. Number 2, more is always better. The obsession with constant growth, consumption, and accumulation at the expense of well-being and sustainability. Number 3, the Earth's resources are infinite. That dangerous assumption that the planet can endlessly provide for our needs, no matter how much we take. And number 4, technology will save us. The over-reliance on innovation as a cure-all, ignoring the systemic and cultural changes that are equally essential. Understanding these great untruths is the first step, but the journey doesn't stop here. In the next installment, we'll delve deeper into how cultural narratives and societal norms perpetuate these myths. More importantly, we'll explore how to begin rewriting these stories, one idea, one action, and one community at a time. The work ahead is challenging, but it's also full of possibility. Together, we can build a future rooted in connection, collaboration, and care for the earth and each other. So let's continue this journey towards a new narrative in a thriving, regenerative world. And a closing reflection. Later, as the campfire burned low, Zach said, maybe rewriting the story isn't just about words. Maybe it's also about how we live. Tess nodded, and how we teach others to live too. Their exchange is an invitation to me, to you, to everyone, to create a future where humanity and nature thrive together. Let's write a new narrative. This is Brad Swift, eco-author and eco-guardian in training. Oh, P.S. Which of these great untruths have shaped your actions? Would you kindly share your thoughts by commenting, and if this resonates with you, please share it with your friends and family. Together we can grow this community of eco-guardians in training. If you haven't already, subscribe to follow the series. Together we can rewrite the future.